My online-only work placement was completed for Dr. Loy Leasing of Macquarie University Department of Linguistics, who conducts research on multilingualism amongst many other endeavours. In my role as an assistant researcher, I built up a folder of research related to heritage language maintenance, which had a global reach. This was done using reference management software, namely EndNote, for which we received training by a Macquarie University librarian. The studies I gathered numbered up to 42, with a scope that included both the global north and the south, and included a focus on family-related studies as well. Her own qualitative projects in Australia on heritage language maintenance in families and multilingual practices, and as contributor to media such as SBS, sociolinguistic views therefore were in support of diversity and of people of CALD background and of awareness of the Australian monolingual mindset, and were at the heart of my placement. Though the majority of Australia's population is composed of migrants, though not all self-identify that way, the term CALD background defines that proportion who identifies as culturally and linguistically diverse and of different background to that of the majority. As 52% of people in Sydney identify as of Anglo-Celtic origin, of culturally and linguistically similar background, in Sydney's case, this majority is decreasing. The heritage language is that or those languages migrants have brought with them. However, in simple terms, the expressive language difficulties and the receptive language difficulties people of CALD background face still act as opportunity barriers in Australian society. Critically, that government and curriculum do not validate or acknowledge this linguistic and cultural depth in people in its discourse is what acts first to cultivate a monolingual mindset and foment an accessibility issue as a result of their multilingualism. It is due to this ideology that maintenance becomes more vital for heritage language speakers. What I have discovered through my research for Dr. Loy is that this phenomenon is not exclusive to occur in the southwestern Pacific Ocean, however that it is of course a global phenomenon. In the global north, a monolingual mindset is referred to as monolingual ethos. The literature there cites issues of self-esteem, low literacy, professional mobility, which refers to artificial ceilings that don't go beyond work in the service industry, for example, and discrimination, even by generations within single families. However, overwhelmingly, it is the mindset of governments reflected in their populations and the educational curricula that effectively increases barriers for people of CALD's background. While there are reports of inclusive practices that support or give equal treatment to people of CALD's background, the trend is that the cause of the inequity is not addressed, and what is seen is a recurrence of these. One longitudinal study of a Korean family migrated to North America finds the attitudes about their heritage language to be continuously shaped and revised as a product of North American language ideology. A monolingual mindset that reached into English language teaching curriculum as well. Well, this is where the phenomena aligns with the theory of multilingualism we've observed. Functional nativeness, for example, is critically important to a multilingual society. Cattrew proposed a model that says, well, let's measure the language based on parameters with which we can describe its functional presence in parts of society and linguistic domains, rather than thinking of language nativeness as a genetic endowment, which it isn't. Language ideologies, as described in Pillar's 2015 encyclopedic entry, state that languages shouldn't be thought of at all as native or not, by value judgments about accents, or by whether they are either Indian English, UK or North American Englishes, nor as any perceived variety of English as being standard, as this assigns power to one group in society. Pillar offers a method for studying linguistic versus social phenomena in her work. Klein theorises on the monolingual mindset. He describes the unfair advantage of students with home background relative to the home materials, the insufficiency of global English in a curriculum that is also considered to be too overcrowded already to include a greater diversity of languages. If languages other than English are taught, they are criticised in some places under the belief that students of poor skill in English will be made worse. These are all fallacious cliches, and they are all attributable to the monolingual mindset. It is this study that most resonates with me as relevant to the problem, having surveyed some of the literature in this placement. Klein projects that without people in decision-making roles, without the right people, the root of the problem could never be got at. It suggests that more multilingual people are needed in decision-making roles, which, as I understand it, gets right to the root of the problem. And this has been my PACE experience for Macquarie University. The recommendation I can make is that perhaps students can conduct their own qualitative sociolinguistic survey, whose data could then be used to go towards the department's research in some way, or perhaps it could be incorporated into the student's report. Perhaps in addition to this, since the awareness is raised so well of sociolinguistic issues during this experience, perhaps the pathways and the channels to actually present these studies when they're presented to government might be touched on to students.